Am I the asshole for reading at home with my husband? I enjoy reading books, but my husband feels that it's rude for me to read when we are both home because I'm ignoring him. To be clear, this does not happen in excess by anyone's definition. I've read a maximum of 5 entire books since we got together a decade ago, primarily to avoid upsetting him. We have very similar work schedules. Recently, I bought a book that was the first in a series of 3, and it started this argument to a higher degree than usual because of the fact that it's a series. I've considered going to a cafe and reading in my car, but that seems like a waste of gas when I could just read at home, where it's more comfortable anyway. But doing so requires that I tell him that I'm about to start reading in the study/bedroom/etc., and that I expect not to be interrupted for the next 30 minutes to an hour, which is what I intend to do if the results here favor me, though this will absolutely upset him because he approaches me for comment or to tell stories every 10 to 15 minutes on average. So am I the asshole? In the comments, Lapis Lazuli says, "Your husband sounds like a piece of work. Read when you want. No announcement needed. Put earbuds in. Say there for white noise. Not the asshole." Depriving you from doing something that you love is notably controlling and restrictive. Doesn't he have things which he likes to do by himself? If the answer is positive, that is the epitome of hypocrisy. Is there any chance that he is jealous of you that you can read and comprehend books and also enjoy it? You have to find the roots of the problem. Tell him to tell you precisely what bothers him in your reading so that you can solve this. You don't need to abstain from reading books. That is a wonderful habit and hobby. It's likely that he does this with anything she enjoys that isn't about or with him. My ex did this. He told me I was wasting my time, but had zero issue forcing me to watch him play PlayStation for hours on end. This is a massive-ass red flag. Shamelessly jumping on top comments here, some of my favorite times in life are when my wife and I are curled up on our sofa together, with us both reading, or one on the phone, or a game or something like that, then we can go a couple of hours without even talking to each other, just content in each other's company. The hell is wrong with your husband that he can't do the same? OP, you're not the asshole. I've read in excess of 1,000 books in the decade that I've been with my wife. Your husband needs to chill out and let you enjoy a book, and you need to tell him that. If you enjoy the series, you can read the whole lot in a week if you want. If the silence bothers him and you're engrossed in a good bit, then he can go for a walk or meet some friends or even put on a film. My wife and I call it being companionable. We're near each other, spending time together, but each doing what we'd like to be doing. Back up to the post, there's an edit. Wow, I got a ton of feedback. This will take a while to just read, and I'm sure I can't respond to everything, so I'll add a few things here. 1. He does the same thing with headphones, but aside from expecting me to be available for immediate comment, he's not abusive in any way. I have friends that I see regularly. I can choose to leave the house without question. I have full access to all financial accounts. I make semi-substantial financial choices, for example, a weekend getaway with friends or buying a new office desk, without permission or guilt. This does not involve yelling, but there are guilt trips. They are framed just as what I've expressed here, that he feels ignored and it's rude. 1. He totally works alone, and I do think that's a source of his understandable need for lots of evening and weekend interaction. I just feel this request is an inappropriate expression of that need. 2. No, he doesn't have that many friends. Just one, really. Otherwise, it's mostly just my family that he spends time with. His doesn't live nearby, but he gets along really well with mine, and they all genuinely enjoy each other's company. 3. Yes, we do have pets. 4. Yes, he has hobbies, but they're easy for him to pick up and put down without notice. Lots of household projects, carpentry, etc. No, he doesn't like to watch sports or play video games. 5. We both already have therapists who we've seen bi-weekly for years. It's mainly been individual therapy, aside from an approximate 6-month period of couples therapy during a time of crisis in 2019. 6. Yes, he's able to read, but he has some mild insecurities about his intellectual abilities. I think the problem is that he doesn't have enough friends and social interaction, and I can relate because I work alone. I know what that's like. But you don't take this out on your partner. You don't make it a them problem. And the way to combat this is to have reasonable boundaries with your partner. I understand that you've let this slide for so long because, I don't know, it kind of feels like you're avoiding confrontation with him. But he's your husband. You should be able to have these cutting, transparent conversations with him about how he's making you feel and the fact that, it's holding you back from reading, which you obviously love to do. 5 books in 10 years because it upsets him is crazy. That's not you ignoring him. That's a normal hobby that happens in short stretches of time, and you should be allowed to do that. Your partner should not be giving you anxiety over this thing. I feel like that's completely unacceptable. Also, being expected to be constantly available for someone gives you incredible anxiety. I know that feeling, and it's not okay for someone to do that to you. You need to have space to decompress and to not be expected to be at someone's beck and call. You can't actually have peace if you're constantly on edge, waiting for something to happen from someone else. It's not okay to do that. And I understand why his loneliness and insecurities make him feel this way, but they don't justify what he's doing to you. You genuinely need to clamp down on this behavior by him and force him to go do something else to give you time to decompress. Maybe it's time he goes out and makes more friends, gets some hobbies, does something else that isn't relying on you constantly. And now, onto the update. So after some of this input, I read for about 90 minutes in the bedroom last night. He was watching some TV, and he did ask, "You don't want to hang out with me?" I said he was welcome to put in some headphones and come join me, and he said, "Nah," and continued to watch TV. It has me wondering if maybe he saw some of the responses to this thread, because it was unusual. Nevertheless, it went well. I plan to make this part of my Sunday and Wednesday evening routine until I can trust myself to be more casual about it without giving it up again. To the 85% of you, thank you so much. To the other 15%, yikes? But such is the internet. What a neat resource. I would never have really known if this was the norm or how other people read for pleasure in their private households without this tidal wave of input. Thanks for these small glimpses into your homes and lives. It's funny what parts of our routines are silently, unintentionally intimate. In the comments, Coming in the Nile says, and yes, I know they comment a lot. Stop commenting on my videos about it. Your partner doesn't owe you their undivided attention 24/7. It is so unattractive to be expected to entertain your fully adult partner. Honestly, yeah, having to constantly perform so a grown adult doesn't feel bored can be exhausting. Not romantic. I am OP. My entire family is OP's husband. My parents would get angry if I didn't watch TV with them because it was family time. But if I talked during the TV because I thought this was supposed to be family time, I was interrupting the TV. So if I brought a book downstairs and read it in front of the TV while everyone was watching the TV, they got equally upset that I was not watching the TV because it's family time. I think there are people that just don't understand reading, which is weird. To them, these other things that you're doing completely silently without interacting are group activities together, but reading because you're holding the book by yourself, even if you're sitting next to them, is not together. I don't understand it. I just accept that it's true now. I can't imagine cutting my reading down to 1 book every 2 years to try to make a man happy. Hell, I can't imagine cutting my reading down to 1 book every 2 days to make a man happy. I would never do anything that makes me unhappy to make a man happy. You know what? I guess I was yapping a lot more than what this update needed. But at the same time, not every situation is the same, and not every situation gets resolved like this one does. I did not expect him to just be cool with her reading alone for 90 minutes in the bedroom, because usually these partners make a big fuss about it and become passive-aggressive and just double down on the issue that they created initially because they're not getting enough attention. I still stand by what I said, but I'm glad that it resolved the way that it did here. You didn't need to escalate. You didn't need to apologize for existing. You just calmly did what you did with a soft boundary of closing the bedroom door and having your own space. Am I truly so jaded to think that this was an unusual outcome? I think it's a good thing that you've started setting a routine though, instead of having to ask permission to read. Hopefully it does kind of slowly turn into something that you can do by yourself without having to have it happen on Wednesday and Sunday evenings, and that he will just learn that you need to be left alone for a bit when you're reading. Hopefully the boundary sticks, but if it doesn't, come back and let us know. Our next post is by user Spirited Warthog, and it's titled, "Am I the asshole here for standing my ground with a neighbor who keeps demanding we stop parking legally on the street?" So my partner and I, male 36, female 35, recently moved from the city to a little village because we wanted better schooling for our 2-year-old. As with most moves, we've got a long to-do list to get the house fixed up, and we've been working through it. One problem has been our electric gates, which have been failing and locking shut. When this happens, both our cars have been trapped on the driveway. In the past, we've had to get taxis to take our child to nursery because the gates literally wouldn't let us out. We've had 2 different companies come to look at them, and both confirmed that not only are the gates faulty, but the manual override is broken too. We're told it's an expensive job to replace them. The gates work as designed sometimes, but not all the time. So we figured the safest solution is to park our family car on the street so that we always have access to it. About a week ago, my partner got in the car and found a wet note on the windscreen. It had been raining, so the note was unreadable. Curious, I messaged our neighbors to one side and across the road as I had their numbers. I simply said that we'd had a note left on the car. It wasn't legible, and if it was from them, we were happy to talk. I mentioned that my guess was that it was most likely about the parking. Everyone replied saying it wasn't them and that they had no issue at all with where we were parking. My partner bumped into another neighbor, John, and he also confirmed that he had no issue with the car being parked there. A couple days later, another note appeared. "To the owner of this car, can you please stop parking outside our wall?" It was signed with the name of a house, John's house. The same neighbor who had literally told my partner days earlier that it wasn't him and that he had no problem with it. Weird, but okay. For some context, we would park directly outside our house, but it seems a bit dangerous. We live on the corner of a narrow street coming off a busy road. If we park outside our house, drivers turning in are basically greeted by a dark, barely visible car. The street lighting there is poor. So the parking spot that we chose is maybe 30 feet away from the front of our house, directly under a street lamp where visibility is far greater. The next day, we get another note. "I have told you already to stop parking in front of our wall." To try and stop this becoming a thing, we decided to write a note back introducing ourselves, confirming the car is ours, and outlining our reasoning for parking there. When my partner went to drop off the note, John's wife appeared at the door before she could even knock. According to my partner, she took a slightly aggressive stance, stating, "You will not park there again. I will not allow it. I don't want to see your car there after tonight." In my opinion, no valid reasoning was given other than she didn't like it and felt that it makes the street look messy. When my partner tried to leave and explained that she wanted to speak with me about it all, the lady followed her down the driveway, continuing to ask where she intends to park the car in the future. Importantly, during that conversation, when our reasoning of safety came up, the lady mentioned that she knows all about safety because she works at a local nursery. My partner, who was caught off guard, reacted by confirming that our child goes to that very nursery. So now this clearly frustrated neighbor knows that our child could be under her supervision. She didn't yet know their names or what they look like, but she does know our address, and I'm sure that our details could easily be pulled up on the nursery systems should it be searched for. The very next morning, another note. "As agreed, stop parking your car in front of our wall." We didn't agree on anything. At this point, because of the nursery connection, I wanted to de-escalate the situation. I bought chocolates and wrote what I thought was a fairly respectful note explaining our position. The note read as follows, minus road and house names for privacy. Blank house. We wanted to follow up regarding your concerns about where we've been parking. Please know that it's never been our intention to cause any upset or inconvenience. We've been made aware by other road users that the combination of the narrow road, the junction with blank road, and the limited lighting can make parking directly outside of our house unsafe. For this reason, the spot beneath the streetlight has proven to be the safest option in terms of visibility and hazard avoidance for all road users. As the road is a public space, we understand that no one is able to reserve or control its use, and after speaking with our other neighbors, they've expressed that the parking in that spot is considered completely reasonable. With this in mind, we do intend to continue parking there. That said, please do not hesitate to let us know if you have gardening work scheduled, and we can move the car further down the road on those days. We do hope that you can understand our reasoning behind this decision and appreciate the consideration for residents and road users. Kind regards, blank. For context, there's a space, around 3 feet, between the wall and the car. We just appreciate that if they're looking to cut hedges from the outside, it would be easier with more space. Anyway, my partner delivered the above note today while I was picking up our kid. By the time I got home, this neighbor was on our porch, raising her voice at my partner. I approached the front door, handed our child to Mum, and took over the conversation. She now knows what our little one looks like. She'd already handed back the chocolates and note, saying that she won't accept this. She insists that we are disrespectful, that she's never had any trouble with neighbors before, and that we need to sort out our gates rather than park on the street. I asked her directly what her actual issue with the parking was, and all she would say is, "I just don't like it there. There is no access problem or safety concerns." She tells me to park in front of another neighbor's house and suggests that I need to have a word with my partner because she doesn't listen. I'd like to think that I remained polite and listened to what she had to say. I said that I'd consider her opinion and eventually got her to leave. We haven't moved the car. I'm annoyed, it is legal, safe, and in my mind, reasonable. She's calling us rude, disrespectful, and insinuating that we are troublemakers. So am I the asshole here for standing firm and continuing to park the car in the most convenient spot for us, despite this woman's frustration? In the comments, not the asshole, but you also need to make the nursery aware of the issue and ask that she not have any unsupervised time near your child. OP says, "Really appreciate this," is the top comment. "We were undecided as to whether to raise it due to not wanting to cross any professional personal boundaries, but you guys are absolutely right." This is just ridiculous. This is like peak first world problems right here. The only reason she can come up with is, "I just don't like it there." Like if I'm OP and OP's partner, I'm like, "Oh god, she's gonna slash my tires." At that point, you'd probably just want a camera from your house onto the car to see if she ever vandalizes it, because I don't trust her. This is a stupid vendetta, and stupid petty people do stupid things. Like there is genuinely no problem, from what I can see, with your car being there. She's just an entitled prick, and her escalation is what the problem is here. Because, what the hell? They lied about the first note and then escalated from there and then confronted your partner, followed her down the driveway, and is now inserting herself into your life, knowing the identity of your child at the nursery that she works at. This is genuinely scary behavior. You did the right thing trying to de-escalate, but she's not going to listen, so now you have to start documenting, stopping any engagement with her directly, probably videoing everything that you have, and definitely getting to the nursery about this so that you can start a paper trail and show that you don't trust this woman working with your child. You need to protect your family. This is not okay. And now, on to the update. We've spoken to the nursery regarding our child's contact with this woman and have requested that there be none. They've assured us that they take this kind of concern seriously and will update us on Monday. As seems to be becoming routine, there was another note on the car this morning telling us to move it ASAP. We've added it to the pile and keep all of them in case we ever need to refer back. We also contacted our local non-urgent police line for advice. They checked the address and confirmed that we are within our rights to park where we are. They said notes on the car and an aggressive tone don't meet the threshold for threats, only direct threats of violence or property damage would. If the notes become threatening, they said we should then call them back. They mentioned that if she keeps coming to the door repeatedly, it could potentially become a stalking issue, but that feels extreme at this stage. A lot of comments suggested disconnecting the power to our gates when they're open, which is a viable option. It may invalidate our car or house insurance though, so we were planning to speak to our insurer before doing anything, until this afternoon. The intercom buzzed. "It's me again. Your car is still there. You have to move it now." I said I was busy, but she insisted that I come out and talk to her. I probably should have ignored it. It was pouring with rain, but I went out to speak to her. She just repeated the same things, so I explained everything we've looked into and the advice we've received. Her response was that she knows the policy says it's fine, but it's not fine with her. I was honestly thinking about backing down and just moving the car to stop this whole situation, as she is so unreasonable, until she said that if I didn't move it right now, she would move her own cars out of her garage and block us in. One in front, one behind, making our car essentially unusable. I tried not to laugh at her. Surely this would only make her problem worse, and it was just such a petty thing to suggest. I said okay. Said I had to go inside now, and I shut the door on her. Dashcams arrived today, and I'll be fitting them tomorrow, when I imagine there will be a fresh note on the car. Or a blockade to deal with, making it impossible to move onto the drive, even if we wanted to. In the comments, call the non-emergency line again and ask if her blocking your car as described would be illegal. Point out that you're parked legally, and since she does not own the street, she has no legal grounds for demanding that you move. Talk to a lawyer about a restraining order to stay away from you and your property. Talk to her spouse and let him know what she's doing and has threatened to do. Let him know that if she does that and your car is damaged in the process, you will be forced to involve the police. He may decide that enough is enough and rein her in, telling her to quit terrorizing the new neighbors while he is at it. You're placating them, and as long as you continue to do so, she will feel entitled to give you orders. Put a firm boundary in place. For example, no, and I'm done talking about this, and also trespass her from your property. Why isn't OP talking to John? This is completely out of hand, and I'm not one to tell a dude to handle his wife, ever, but John said it was fine. Ask John what the hell her problem is, and if he can intervene. I guarantee you that John is well aware how off the rocker his wife is. He won't intervene because it's easier to have that problem pointed elsewhere instead of towards him. John's staying out of it and praying the police take her away. That's exactly it. John's hoping that someone handles her because it sure as hell isn't going to be him. I'm actually on board with that, and I think that's, not the right approach to take. And I'm not going to tell someone to rein their wife in either, but I will say, if your wife is causing problems like that is embarrassing, and it's also a stain on your reputation as well. And don't be surprised if the neighborhood starts hating you too, if you don't de-escalate the shit that your wife is starting, because that just seems like you're complicit in it. And I would say that John is complicit in it. So when the police get involved, it's his fault that the police get involved also. Because why would she de-escalate at this point? She's shown no intention to. I think that she will make threats in the future. Because explicitly threatening to block your car in is harassment. She's going to intentionally mess with your ability to get to and from work, to get your child to and from the nursery. Obviously you have 2 cars, so you have another one that can get out of the way. But it doesn't make it any less harassment. I think you did everything that you could do in this instance by telling the nursery, telling the police, getting a dash cam installed, and getting a paper trail started. I don't know what the answer to this is, but I'm looking forward to your eventual return to Reddit, if you ever do, to let us know what the hell is happening here. This woman is bored, she's got nothing else going on in her life by the sounds of it, and she just wants control over whatever she can have control over. If this were an HOA, she would be the president that is sending out threats left, right, and center, and fines, and threatening to put liens on people's houses because she can. We gotta rename her to Karen, guys. We gotta bring that back. It's been so long since I've read a Karen story. Someone get Mr. Redder in here with his goddamn Karen caricatures. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you today. I do hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.